teeth, too.
Okay.
Hey, tell me more colors. I got way more whiteboard colors.
Alright, everybody. How's it going today?
It's good.
My name's Sophie. What are your names?
Charlie.
I'm Luke.
Pascal.
Nice to meet you guys. So we're going to do a bit of a sailing lesson today. Do you guys know much about sailing?
There's a jib.
There's a jib. That's
Okay.
Good part.
I've been sailing.
You've been on
I
a
don't,
catamaran.
I don't know how to do
I
it.
have done like the bare minimum of sailing to, according to my grandfather, be allowed to swear like a sailor.
Alright, perfect. Well, we've got some basics that we're going to learn. Today we're going to focus on stopping and going. And our lesson's going to be called Ready, Set, Go. Okay, so do we know what powers our sails?
Wind.
Yeah, you want some stickers?
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
So, do we have any ways to find out where the wind direction is coming from? Can we brainstorm any ideas?
A weather vane.
Weather vane, that's a good one.
Tail thing.
I think there's a thing at the top.
Yeah, that's called a wind indicator.
Oh, I'm so good.
Okay. Okay, you guys can grab some chocolate. And there's even one more basic one that I have in mind.
Licking your finger and sticking it
Your
in.
hair.
That's another good one. You guys are thinking of all great ones.
Throwing up water and watching it move.
Look, okay, it's gotta be kind of windy for that one. That might just be you throwing up water in a certain direction. But if we use a flag, we can see where the wind's coming from.
Wow.
Right? So,
I never even thought of that one.
did you think about it?
Didn't
That's the most obvious one, too.
Yeah, so pretty straightforward. There's a lot of different ways, which you all brainstormed really well. So we need to think about is, depending on where the wind's coming from, is going to change which ways we move. So, if we pretend this arrow is the direction of the wind, we're going to be thinking about how our boat moves in relation to that. So, do we have any ideas of how we would stop a boat?
You want to face the wind.
Yeah, exactly. Any other ideas? Facing the wind's a really good one. So, we're going to call this irons. That doesn't work very well. So, when we are in facing the wind, that's called irons. And the way that we get into irons is we need to move our boat from a moving position, which would be something like this, where we're slightly off of the wind, into a position where we're into the wind, just as Pascal said. So, there's a couple of different ways how to move upwind. And I know you guys all said you were pretty new sailors, so do you have any ideas? If you don't, I can help lead you the way.
There's a rope.
Yeah, there's a rope you pull, and it
Well,
brings
yeah.
the sail to turn.
Yeah, totally. That's a good one. So,
I know myself.
it can start happening as a process. We can bring our mainsail in. So if we're going like on a nice reach over here with our sail out, if we can start to bring it inwards a little bit, that will help us head up this way. And then we can bring our sail in and we'll be closer to irons. But our sails can't do it all. Any other ways?
You can steer the boat.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So by pushing the boat and moving our sails upwind, or inwards, we'll be starting to head all the way upwind, okay? And together with the two of these motions, we can get our boat all the way into irons. Another way, instead of bringing the sails in, is letting them out, okay? Because what that will do is that'll help us slow down. Because if we're on a course heading in this direction, it will allow for us to have our sails not trimmed properly, which will slow us down. And then from there, you can use your tiller and push upwind and head into irons. Follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we've stopped, we don't want to just stay there forever, right? No.
I would picnic on the lake.
And we won't be able to stop forever unless we really work hard, because it's hard to keep our boat straight in irons. But that's a different skill on its own. So, what we can do is we can start going. So if our boat is in irons and we don't want to be there anymore, it can be really frustrating if we don't know how to get out of irons. Because if we're stuck and we're not moving anywhere and we want to just keep moving, it will be so hard if you're just like stuck and you don't know what to do, and everything we try and do, we just keep standing there and we go backwards a little bit, and then we might get moving for a second. So we need to know these really important skills so we're able to start sailing again if we ever get stuck. Any ideas how we would get out of irons?
Turn the sail
Or
in a different
wait,
direction.
what if you took the same way you get in, you take a paddle and you push yourself slightly away?
Paddle's a good one. We can always use a paddle. Most boats do have paddles. But what if we're just using what we have on the boat? Or paddle could be on the boat, but what about
Do we have all the sails up already?
all the sails can be up?
Or I feel
down.
like if you put a sail down, just changing it might help.
Yeah, changing it could help. But there's one pretty easy way
With your hands?
with the whole
You steer
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 it.
it.
That's a good point.
So, the way that we get away from irons is we bear off. And bearing off is bringing our tiller towards us. So it'll look like that. By doing that, our boat will start to head from this direction down to this direction. Okay. And then, usually in most winds, steering will do the trick. But if our boat has two sails, like the jib that you guys were saying earlier, the jib can be super helpful for bearing off and heading away from irons. So, have you guys ever heard of backwinding the jib? Okay, so this one's pretty fancy. What a person can do is they can go, reach up to the forward, grab the jib, and instead of it being on its proper side, we bring it all the way up to the other side. And by pushing it forward more, it allows more wind to hit the jib and knock the boat downwind a little bit more. Okay? That kind of makes sense? So, by backwinding the jib, we can get out of irons. By steering, we can get out of irons. And then once we're on a different course, we'll want to adjust our sails, bring them in, so that we can start moving forward again. So, let's go over that again. Can you tell me how we can slow and stop our boat?
By going into irons?
Yes, how do we get into irons?
You turn the sail and steer it into the wind.
Steer it into the wind. Do you know if we steer, do we push the tiller away or do we bring it towards us?
Depends if which side of the wind we're already at. For the left or right.
No. Because if we're left, if we're going this way, let's say, this is the high side, the wind's coming from this direction, I'm going to be pushing away the tiller. And that will bring me upwind. And if I'm standing on this side, I still push away the tiller. That'll bring me upwind again. Tricky one.
Makes sense.
That does make sense.
Because to get out, you have to pull it towards you.
Exactly. So, no matter which direction we want to go, if we want to go away from irons, push it towards us, boat goes down. Wind's coming from here, we want to go over this way, push it towards us, boat starts to come down that way. Tricky question, wasn't sure if you guys would get it. Wanted to give you a bit of a challenge. So, we can also start slowing our boat when we are going downwind. Okay? So, if we're going downwind, it's a bit of a trickier one, but usually we have our sails out when we're going downwind so that we're catching as much wind as possible. Do we have any ideas of how we can maybe start to slow our boat going downwind?
Bringing the sail into the middle.
Yeah, totally. So, by bringing our sail into the middle, we're doing a similar thing as when we're stuck up in irons. It's allowing for the wind to break apart on either side and barely hitting us here. If it is hitting us here, it doesn't really affect us that much, so it can slow us down a lot. And that can be used if you're going downwind and it's really windy and you're scared. And it's also just a good skill to have in general for slowing our boat down when we're going downwind. Okay. So, we'll move forward with our going into irons. This is the next level up. This is how to really stop your boat quickly. So if we're going super fast and we want to try as hard as we can to stop on this line. We're going in this direction, and then we're trying to stop right here. We can use all the skills we just learned with pushing our tiller away, heading up, bringing our sails in, and then one last thing to really make sure we don't go anywhere is we push our sail all the way out. Any ideas what that would do?
The sail's out and the wind's going like hitting it. It's just not going to move us though.
Yeah, so we're no longer going to go forwards, but it could allow us to go backwards. Okay. So, final thoughts. Can one of you tell me how we slow when we're going downwind?
You bring the sail into the middle.
Yes. How do we head up into irons? I kind of gave you a hint there.
Turn.
You turn and you put the sail towards.
You pull the tiller towards.
You pull the tiller toward away from you,
Yeah.
and then you put the sail in the direction of the wind. No.
We just start bringing the sail in,
Yeah.
okay? And then if we wanted to come to a full and complete stop, what can we do?
Turn this thing sideways. The sail sideways.
Bring the
Yeah,
sail all
push
the way
the
out.
sail all the way up. And that'll stop us, but we don't want to keep it there forever because that could start bringing us backwards. And then for getting out of irons, any ideas?
You steer.
We steer. That's a great one.
You push it away. No, pull it towards.
Yeah, so we pull our tiller towards us. What we can do is 2 or 3 big sculls, just quick ones, to get us out of irons. And what was the trick that I said to do with the jib?
You push it. You pull it out into where the wind's pushing, and then it will push and put resistance on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then push it forward.
So we call that backwinding our jib.
Yeah.
Okay, so with all those skills, I think we're ready to go out on the water.
Sweet.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're not free.